I'm LindiMoo. LindiMoo, yes, like what a cow says. And I have a lot of dumb bovine humor because I'm a musician and I make music. And I milk it for all it's worth. And I never would have been able to say those things. For 10 years, I was having serious panic attacks, and I was taking myself so seriously that I never would have said, hey, I'm going to have a website called LindiMoo.com, because I wanted to be a serious musician. I want to be James Taylor. But frankly, I was just too scared to do anything. And being a musician and standing up in front of people was something that I never thought I could do. Panic attacks they started as dizzy spells. I remember sitting at a pizza place outside, and all of a sudden I had to grab the table. I had to grab the table so that I wouldn't fall over because I felt like I was going to be passing out. And so I thought, whoa, that's weird. And I didn't think anything of it except for when I started driving. The same sensation would come, and I would feel like I was going to pass out while I was driving. And that just progressively got worse to where I was kind of afraid to drive. And you should have seen me when I was driving. It was, if anybody would have been watching me, they would have just thought I was freaking out because I'd be going, okay, stay with us, Lindy, until I got to my destination. So I kind of laid off of driving, and finally it got so bad that I went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with panic attacks and anxiety. And I was going, what do you mean? I'm not panicked. I'm not panicked. Of course, the doctor's just looking at me going, right. So they prescribed medication for me. I think I was on Paxil, and this other one, I forget what it was. They switched me off when one of them was like discontinued because it was bad for people. But I didn't like the way that made me feel. And over the course of 10 years, I was starting to have at least one a week. And the symptoms for me, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I felt like my heart wasn't right. And just shaking and nervous and can't stand in one place. And especially when I was sleeping, it was like shuddering. And so I would take myself to the doctor, and finally it got to wherever I was, like if I was traveling or something, I'd just go into the emergency room and I go, I'm probably having a panic attack, but I need you to tell me for sure, because otherwise I'll just sit here and I'll panic probably and really have a heart attack. And so it was really an uncomfortable way to live. And Diana came to my rescue. In fact, I was so freaked out that I ran to Diana's house. I got on a plane, which terrified me because I'm afraid of planes. And I was afraid. We'll get to that later. Look up phobias on this website. I had gotten myself into such a state that even going up an inclination, going up an elevation while I was driving, would make my head swim, and it would make me panic, and it would make me feel like I couldn't breathe. So traveling started being out of the question. I mean, I just started shutting myself down from every activity that I love. I wasn't sure what was going to cause a panic attack. So guess where I hung out? I hung out in my room, in my bed. My bed just became my sanctuary. I didn't even sit at my desk to use the computer. I put that computer on my belly, okay, which was getting larger because I was getting fatter. And I just played on the computer all day. Played word games. I looked at how other people were living their lives on Facebook. And that's basically how I spent my day, in my bed, when I wasn't out doing anything. But now, after relieving the stress, I started doing something I never thought I would do. And that is to go off on a week-long tour by myself, making money, singing, and making a living doing that, and driving. that distance by myself. There was no way that I would have done that. I was way too freaked out that I was going to have a panic attack while I was driving. So amazingly enough, I go out and I do things that I never was doing before, like just going out. I am 52 years old, and the last 2 years of my life have been by far, in fact, leaps and bounds, happier and more well adjusted than any other time in my life. And that's because of Diana. And that's because of these easy things she taught me to do. I mean, they're so easy, you're going to wonder why you didn't think of them yourself. So if you want to know what this is all about, go to LindiMoo.com. You hit the love tab, go to Bodies of Water, and then there's my story. I've got my little story there. And then at the bottom, there's some links and I click them and download that program, because your new amazing self is just moments away. There is a version of yourself where you're happy. There's a version of yourself where you're confident and improving and enjoying life. One thing I got to say about Diana before I leave, before I get out of here, is if you ever get a chance to do a one-on-one session with her, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that, because you can learn the technique, and that's great, okay? But she will show you how to take that further, so that when you start doing it yourself again, you're going to find an amazing relief from your stress. I love Diana E. Ruiz. I do.